One of the stranger games of the weekend was Buffalo and Miami. So it's inexplicable. Miami had only 16 first downs. They were awful on third down. They averaged under 4 yards a pass. They had almost 4 times the penalties of Buffalo. It was in Buffalo. They're a warm weather team. And they had the Bills on the ropes. I'll tell you, Mike McDaniel can coach. I felt for the third time this year, Buffalo faced Miami and has more talent, especially at quarterback. And I felt for the third straight time, Miami outcoached them and outsmarted them. Is Josh Allen, who I love, becoming Brett Favre? Wildly entertaining and sometimes just too wild. When you have a remarkable talent, they're generally at their best when they can be reined in. Mahomes with Andy Reid, Favre with Mike Holmgren, Lawrence Taylor with Belichick, Randy Moss with Brady, Belichick, and Josh McDaniels. Josh Allen is that kind of talent. He is a Lawrence Taylor, a Randy Moss. He's 101, 6'6", their best runner, huge arm. I mean, he more than any quarterback this weekend, he is throwing the ball over the top any opportunity he gets, almost to a fault. That's why I say Buffalo reminds me of the late Mike Tyson. They'll have a knockout punch always as long as Josh Allen's there. But they'll lack nuance, they'll get sloppy, and they're built to blow you out, not for the later rounds. And the more I watch this team, I wonder. So Josh Allen in college was unbelievably talented, but wild and erratic. And then in the NFL, similarly, wildly gifted, jumping over people, huge downfield arm, and erratic. And Brian Daboll now has done with Daniel Jones what he did with a much more talented Allen. He refined him. He got the accuracy up and the mistakes down. But the longer Daboll is apart from Josh Allen, it's getting worse. He's regressing by the month. More picks, more fumbles, more mistakes. He was scrambling around this weekend, carrying the ball out here, missed a couple of guys. Listen, if you go back and look at the history of the great quarterbacks in this league, Staubach, Aikman, Bradshaw, Stabler, Fouts, Montana, Brady, Breeze, all of them had great mentors. And that's not a knock on Sean McDermott, but he's a defensive guy. I feel he's been outcoached 3 straight games against Miami. They lost Brian Daboll. And, you know, it's becoming a lot of Brett Favre. The highs are insane. The downfield throws and completions are awe-inspiring and jaw-dropping. But the lows, Brett Favre cost himself multiple playoff wins. Brett Favre lost those games. And so I feel we're getting, and Favre was at his best when he had Mike Holmgren, who refined him, lowered the mistakes, take some layups. So as I watch Josh Allen, I see this just unbelievably gifted thrower of the football. I was seeing some, I forget what stat it was this morning, but, you know, they're nothing against Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins and Brock Purdy and a lot of the quarterbacks this weekend. One guy is just howitzer, throw a cannon, throwing the ball down the field. It was a lot of Skylar Thompson and Brock Purdy and safer. You know, Daniel Jones had a great throw, rolled left, down to Hodgson, up the sideline. Josh had like 8 of those. I mean, he's just a complete difference maker. But, boy, the longer he is away from Daboll, the sloppier he gets, fumbles, picks, decisions, misses some easy ones. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl doing that because Mahomes and Burrow give you so much of the upside without the mistakes. We don't talk on a day like today much about the losing teams, although the way the Chargers lost is worth noting. So here's my 3 or 4 minutes on Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. There's a term, my wife used to, be in PR, and she had to work sometimes in Minneapolis, and there's a term called Minnesota nice. People are very pleasant, and they're very cordial. Kirk Cousins is a perfect Viking quarterback. He's Minnesota nice. I wish he was Boston angry and New York tough and had the ego of somebody in Dallas and L.A. cool, but he's not. He's a nice guy. He always makes plays, but never the play. And so on 4th and 8, when he goes to an underneath tight end route against man-to-man for a veteran quarterback, it's just something you should never throw. That is a useless play. So predictable, it hurts. But this is what we've had with Kirk Cousins for 8 years. He makes plays, never the play. If you go to the box score, he's 31 of 39, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 113 passer rating. What I would worry about if I was Minnesota isn't the fans. They're loyal. They'll be back. Isn't that Kirk Cousins will suddenly get terrible. 8 years, it's the same guy every year. What I would worry about, Stephon Diggs said, get me out of here. I'd worry about Justin Jefferson saying, get me out of here. I don't want to waste my career. I got 5 more great years. What's the point of this? So Stephon Diggs just said, get me to a star quarterback. That's what I worry about, is that he starts to lose the locker room, lose trust of star receivers. You know, Minnesota is they're the annuity of the stock market. You know, they're bonds instead of stocks. You know, it's super conservative, safe and predictable. I just worry that free agent stars look at it and go, there's a ceiling. That receivers in the building like Stephon Diggs say, there's a ceiling. That's what I worry about. You're going to get the same Kirk Cousins next year. He's going to give you the same numbers he gave you this year. He's got an offensive coach. They've got nice weapons. The fans are going nowhere. It's one of the great sports towns in America. They're loyal. But I do wonder if a little bit of he's a nice guy. But you know what? They say nice guys finish last. Tom Brady's a nice guy too. He will do anything to win, right? Like the reality is Kirk Cousins, I just feel like the word's out. The story's out. The brand's out. And I worry how it plays in the room or with free agents. It's a great place to live. Great fans. Stability. But the division is getting very interesting now. Detroit, to me, is a playoff team next year. If Aaron comes back and they get him some weapons, they're a playoff team. You want to move off stuff earlier than later. They've drafted quarterbacks in later rounds. You know they're not totally happy with it. But, they feel a little trapped. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.